Sideshow presents Get Super with Joshy G. Featuring today's special guest, Vic Fuentes. It's time to get super.
Hey everyone, what is going on? I'm Joshy G, and welcome to another episode of Get Super with Joshy G. Look at this fancy set I got. Look at this bookshelf. Look at all these cool, nerdy things that I got going on. Vic, I know you're excited. And speaking of Vic, we have the one and only Vic Fuentes from the band Pierce the Veil. Vic, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me, Joshy. Good to see you.
Look, it has been a while since I saw you. Actually, the last time I saw you, I was fortunate enough to come hang at your crib with your lovely girlfriend, which now is your fiance. Congratulations, my friend.
Woo! I did it.
Yeah, you did do it. And first of all, congratulations. And how you feeling after popping the big question?
It feels amazing. We kind of feel like little kids who are doing something very adult, and we kind of like blush whenever we call each other like fiance, or it just feels so like new to us because I've known Danielle for like 9 years. And
oh wow, 9 years, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we met. She was the girl in our music video for King for a Day, and we met that day, and we sort of built a relationship very slowly because I was on tour, and we would just hang out like every once in a while, and then it was more and more, and then all of a sudden, you know, we moved in together in San Diego, and now we're engaged, and it's crazy. But yeah, like I said, we feel like little kids, and it's been so rad to see like all the love from all of our friends, and just so many people just are excited about engagements, and it makes us super happy.
Well, in a very trying time, like, being in the middle of a pandemic, being able to have some really cool, fun stories and love stories like that come out of it, it makes it worth the while, man. So again, congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Not to break up the romance, but if you're probably wondering, what is that snoring? It's not because your story is boring, but it's my English bulldog, Matzo Ball, who is literally laying right next to me. So your stories aren't boring, Vic. It's just my dog is very, very loud.
That's all right. I was doing a cameo the other day, and I usually like to sing a song for the person, and if they wanted me to sing something for them. And I started singing this song, and the girl's dog like flipped out and started like tackling her and like getting in her face. And I think it was my voice that was like making him go crazy. Like, I don't know if it was like the frequency or something like that. And he hated my voice, and it was hilarious.
So for those of you that don't know, Vic is in a band called Pierce the Veil. Now, growing up, you said that you're in San Diego. Did you grow up in California, or did you grow up somewhere else?
I grew up, born and raised in San Diego.
And you never left, obviously with the exception of going on tour.
No, I mean, I feel like I live in a city that I feel very, I don't know, it feels nice to come home here. Whenever we're on the road for a long time and we land back in San Diego, it just feels so good. And I love this city. It's been,
when you tell people you grow up in San Diego or especially California, I always get the, growing up in Las Vegas, I grew up in Las Vegas, but I always get the, what was that like? So what was that like for you growing up in San Diego?
I would say very cliche, very like what you would think. A lot of surfing, skating, a lot of outdoors stuff like that. Very laid back, very very San Diego, I guess, if you would think like just Southern California. Big music scene here, like SoCal punk was really big when I was a kid, so I was into all these like really fast bands like Pennywise and NoFX so a lot of music influences from here. And
Did you get a lot of musical influences from your dad? Because I read that your dad was a musician. Was that something that as you got older and you saw your dad kind of do it, is that something that you wanted to get into?
Yeah, I mean, my dad, he's an amazing guitar player. He grew up on like Santana and Jimi Hendrix, and he kind of looks like Santana. Like,
oh, that's awesome.
And, and he also had a jazz teacher. So he learned a lot of like really complicated, cool, pretty jazz chords. So I learned from him and in the very beginning, and he taught me all the basics. So I started with this sort of base of rock and roll and jazz, and I kind of immediately used that in punk. I used to use all these crazy like spider fingery jazz chords and like in our punk songs, and that was kind of how I developed our style in the very beginning, was from him, and I still use a lot of his inspiration still to this day.
So when you first learned how to play guitar, how old were you?
I was like 14.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
14, 15.
Was that your way of bonding with your dad, in the sense that, like, most, dads, they go out and play catch, or they go do this? That was your way to bond with your dad, is to learn how to play guitar?
It totally. Looking back on it, yes. At the time, no, I didn't. He was so good that I would get really discouraged. He'd be like, "Oh, really? all you got to do is this," and I'm like, I can't do that. My fingers don't work yet. And I quit for a while there, and then I picked it up again like a year later. And he was just so good that I felt like I was chasing the impossible. And I think it wasn't until I just started learning songs on my own, like Green Day songs and stuff like that, that I realized that I can actually play guitar and that I can do this thing. His stuff was just way too hard.
That would he encourage you, and you're like listening to bands like Green Day or these punk rock bands, and he's like, no, that's not guitar playing. This is guitar playing. Or was he super encouraging? Like, heck yeah, like let's do it that way. As long as you're playing, that's all I care.
Oh, He just was just so stoked that I was playing guitar and I was playing in bands, because he played in bands when he was younger, and tells me all these stories about him and his big fro, and like playing down at the beach, like using like a generator to play on the boardwalk to all these people in the 70s. And I just wish I could see that. And but he's super proud of everything that we've done, and he's definitely our biggest fan. He's the one who hears my songs first. Because this studio that I'm in right now is connected to my parents' home, because because every kid grows up playing in their parents' garage, and just like we did, and eventually we tore down the garage and built a studio. So I'll call in my dad every once in a while and to have him listen to a song, and he'll just like, if he's feeling it, then I'm feeling it. And he's like a hippie, dude. He's all peace, love. Turn your guitar up, Vic. Play with your heart and your soul. And he's awesome.
Now, does he give you like great notes and honest critiques, or does he have a lot of criticism where you're just like, hey man, I just wanted a few pointers. You're giving me too many. Yeah,
no. I think he doesn't critique a lot. He's just like, he'll throw out suggestions of like, mostly he wants me to turn up my guitar, is what he's always asking me. He's like, I gotta hear that guitar. Which
I feel like it's the complete opposite of what most normal parents, like, they have a kid playing a guitar or drums or a saxophone or whatever. They're like, turn it down. I love that your dad wanted you to turn it all the way up. So you learn how to play the guitar at a young age, around 14. Now, when you get into high school, is that when you start thinking like, man, I kind of want to be in a band?
Yes, actually. Yeah. I mean, I was in a band before that with my best friend, Curtis Peoples, who I still write music with today.
Okay.
And he's a singer-songwriter. And so we started a band when we were 14, 15. Our inspirations are like Pearl Jam and Weezer and Stone Temple Pilots and all these like rock bands. And so I had that for years kind of growing up. And then my brother picked up a drum kit from like a swap meet. My dad bought him one. And then when I was in high school, we were getting really into like punk music and fast stuff like that. And so we started a band, I think around like my sophomore year of high school. And
what was the name of that band?
We were called Early Times, named after the cheap whiskey. And it was like all very youth fight songs, like fight for your rights, stand up for yourself, very like based off Pennywise and stuff like that. And really fast music, and that was kind of our first thing that we did. So I always had two bands growing up. I had a band with my best friend that was more rock and roll based, and then a band with my brother that was always punk based and faster. And so I loved that balance of having those two worlds. And eventually that all turned into Pierce the Veil.
Yeah.
I mean, the first music I got into was hip hop. It was like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, The Chronic, like that was Warren G. That was my time period, the 90s hip hop. And when I didn't know what music was, that was the first thing that I grabbed onto. And I was playing soccer, and I had friends that were into like rap and stuff. And so I was into that. And that kind of developed into my best, then my best friend asked me to be in his band. Kurt asked me to be in his band because they were kicking out their guitar player and they needed a guitar player. And I didn't even really play guitar yet. And so so I learned, through my dad and stuff just so I could join the band and hang out with them. And I was kind of like exposed to more rock music from my friends and from my brother. My brother was the first one who got me into punk because he was, he got into it before me, and he was, rocking like the chains and like the Liberty spiked hair and and looking amazing. I just saw an old picture of him and I was like, oh my God, he looks so rad. And
now you're in high school and in this band, are you getting also noticed by other people? Are you getting noticed by girls more? Are you getting more popular as the band goes on, or is it the exact opposite? Nobody knows who you are. No,
I mean, I think I was getting noticed, but didn't notice that I was getting noticed.
Apparently that's the way to go, right? You're just playing it cool the whole way.
I had no idea that girls liked me. Like, I didn't even realize it until way later when some of them actually told me, and I was like, what? So I was completely clueless in high school, but I was really driven and loved music. I think I just wanted friends. I wanted to be, part of a community. I wanted to know some people, and music really opened that up for me, especially as high school went on and I got a little older, and we started playing like house parties and stuff like that. And my friends started wearing our homemade shirts and hoodies, and that was a really fun time. I think the first time I realized that I wanted music to be possibly be the thing that I do was when we played our first party. And I still have the set list from that party. I saved it.
That's great.
And it was just like, I remember watching my friends do a little circle pit in the backyard and just having so much fun. And me feeling that and seeing that was, oh my God. I was like, holy shit. Like,
it's got to be an adrenaline rush in some capacity, right? 100%. I mean, you're getting instant feedback on something that you have created. And in this case, in some situations, songs that you have written. So the fact that your friends and family, and especially people that you may not even know at this party, are giving you instant feedback and they're really getting into the music that you created, that's got to be a rush, right?
Oh, 100%. I was like hooked at that moment. I still remember it so vividly. And yeah, ever since then, I think that was probably the real moment when I was like, oh, we got to do this and we got to make it even bigger and we got to, grow it.
Now, there is always that small percentage of folks like, that want to be in a band, but they never make it. Did you have a backup plan? Or it sounds to me like you were so driven that you were like, no way, this is it all the way through.
No, I had graphic design was what I was going to do if music didn't work out. So I ended up going to college. I went to San Diego State for 3 years. And the whole time I was doing graphic design and then I was doing music. And those were my two things in my life. And whatever one took off first was what I was going to do. And my third year in college, we got our first record deal and I just took off. I was like, peace, college, never graduated. And we started touring. So.
Now, as a graphic designer, were there artists that kind of influenced your work as a graphic designer? Were there photographers that you liked? And do you kind of still dabble in it now?
I do. I mean, in the beginning, I did all of our merch. I did all of everything, visually for our band, which was what a lot of people did back then. There was a lot of DIY stuff going on, I think, back in the day. And, a lot of hours spent at Kinko's chopping flyers up and burning CDs and making the artwork for them and putting a flyer in them and passing them out. And just a ton of that. So I used my design stuff a lot in the beginning. And then as our band grew, I took a step back and let the real designers do it. But I still come up with all the ideas. And, if I want to, I still stay up on all my design, and I love following designers and creative people. And I'm always keeping inspiration and stuff for that kind of thing. I'm working on a design right now with our designer, Mike Cortada. He's like one of my main guys. Like, for example, I told him, I was like, I want like a candy wrapper, and I want our name to be like in the candy wrapper, and I want it to be. So we're working on it. This is what we got so far. I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah, look at that.
So
you're saying that I get a sneak peek of that before anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, maybe Hot Topic will take it. I don't know. We'll see. But
tell you what, I'll make a phone call. Hold on one second.
Thank you, Josh.
Hot Topic, I got a shirt for you. I'm kidding. But no, that's great. Do you have any pop culture influences that you like and enjoy? And have you sprinkled any of those into your music or merch?
God, yeah. I mean, movie quotes sometimes in like songs or like live stuff. One time, first thing that comes to mind is we did, is it Michael Caine, the Batman from Batman, who's got the amazing voice? I think it's Michael Caine.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of people in Batman that have amazing voice, but yes, Michael Caine was Alfred, the butler.
Yeah, I think it was Alfred. He had some speech about like sometimes you just want to watch the world burn. And we took the quote from the movie, and it was a big part of our intro for our live show. We made this dramatic thing with all this rumbling yeah, we like to take stuff like that from movies and whatever and incorporate it into our stuff. And that was a really fun one. Our bass player, Jaime, is a great producer, and he specializes, I think, in my mind, in, what do they call it? Foliage? Like, what is it when like you use
Foley artists? They're like,
Foley. Yeah, exactly. Foley. Yeah. So he's super good at that kind of stuff. And honestly, we're probably going to lose him someday to like Disney, because he's probably going to get some big job at like making movies. And like, he's so good at it, like just building tension. And, we did this one time we did this tour where we had a giant screen in front of the stage that came down in front of us, and we projected this whole animated intro and it sounded like something that it was like a ride. It was meant to look like you're on this like spaceship ride, and it has all these turns and stuff. And we end up crashing into the city that we were in. It says like Dallas, and we're like, and like, so Jaime made this whole thing that sounded like we're straight up in like Indiana Jones or something like that. It was amazing.
That's so great.
So yeah, we love to do stuff like that. Disney's actually one of our biggest like influences as far as like production, live production. We're always thinking like, what would Disney do like on a ride, or when you're in line, when you're in line, that's some of the most entertaining things at Disneyland or Disney World is like the things that they do to entertain you, and tricks and sleight of hand and smoke and mirrors and stuff like that. We like to incorporate that into our live shows, and that's been over the years has been kind of a big influence for us.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, first of all, who isn't a big Disney fan? But the fact that you guys incorporate that stuff is really, really awesome. We're just going to rewind a little bit. So after you and your brother start a band, and you're in high school and you're in college, and you said you signed a big contract, is that when Pierce the Veil was founded, or when was exactly Pierce the Veil founded?
Yeah, technically a little later after that, because me and my brother got signed to our first record deal, when I was like in my early 20s, and yeah, something like that. And we were signed to Equal Vision Records, which is in upstate New York. still an awesome label. And we were with them we got signed as the band Early Times. We changed our name because of the whiskey. We changed our name to, we were called Before Today, which was an awful name. It was very forgettable. And we did one album and we toured a little bit and then we broke up. And mainly because not everybody was on the same page of making music a career and really like going hard with it. So me and my brother were, we wanted to do this for our, rest of our lives. So we were so lucky that Equalvision, when our band broke up, Equalvision Records said, "Hey, Vic and Mike, you guys are the ones that are writing the songs and you have a lot of passion. We're going to let you stay on the label and we're going to let you form a new band and we're going to fund it for you and you're going to record a new album." So looking back on it, I'm just still so thankful that they kept us on, because they could have kicked us to the curb and just dropped us completely, but they didn't. They allowed us to form a new band, and we formed Pierce the Veil. And we started off by my brother and I recording the first Pierce the Veil album on our own, and then we formed the band. Like, we didn't have a band name. We didn't even know what we were going to be called yet, but we knew we had music. And so we kind of like scouted for a band in San Diego. And that's how we found Tony and Jaime. They were playing in a metal band in San Diego called Trigger My Nightmare. Sick band, but they were kind of breaking up. And so we just snagged them into our band, and then that became Pierce the Veil. And then it was a very cool situation, because we were set up, we had a label, we had an album, we had a booking agent. We were ready to tour, and all we had to do was form the band.
And now that the band is formed, and does success happen immediately overnight, or is it a slow burn and then an explosion?
Very slow burn. And I like it that way, though. I think that the slow burn is the way to form strong roots and, to have longevity. Because I think people that blow up overnight, it can be tough for them to hang on for longer and to have dedicated fans who have a lot of emotion and years of support under your belt. Like Billie Eilish, I think she's still so young. She can have next 30 years ahead of her still of hits. Like, it could be amazing. I really hope that happens. But for us, it was like, first couple albums was, playing to nobody and just touring and just getting a lot of like practice under our belts and building slowly building fans. And then, by the time we did our third album, that was the one that just like, bam, it connected with like the whole world. And we were able to tour everywhere on that album. And we toured for 4 years on that album. It was this because there was so much growth happening within this.
Now, which album is that? Is that Collide with the Sky, or is that Selfish Machines?
Collide with the Sky. Collide with the Sky was the one that like just blasted off for us. And it really, it changed our lives, flipped everything upside down. And after that, it was no turning back. We had so many tours, so many crazy things happening.
What was the biggest venue that you got to play, and how many people were there just to see Vic Fuentes from San Diego and his brand new cool band?
Yeah, 4 Mexican dudes from San Diego playing in Reading, probably Reading Festival in the UK. Played to like, I don't know how many, 50,000 people. I'm not really sure. It was like, that's one of their big ass festivals over there in Europe. And we got to play the main stage, and there was like a mile long like catwalk, like, and everything that I could use, and it was crazy. Like that was the biggest show we've ever played, and it was a big milestone for the band. And it was like the very end of the Collide with the Sky touring cycle. So we were like a well-oiled machine, but also very tired, and like just from 4 years of touring on this record. But it was a really cool way to end everything on that record. And that was probably the biggest thing that we've done, is playing to a bunch of British kids out there. It was rad.
See, I love stories like that. I love hearing a guy growing up, learning how to play guitar, played in some backyard barbecue or house party. Right. And the next thing you know, he's playing in front of 50,000 people in England. I think that that's such a cool success story. And for those folks out there, it's like, you work hard work pays off, and you are the definition or the epitome of that, Vic. So I think that that's a really, really cool story. And you're still growing, right? Is there any plans, obviously, post-pandemic world, to get back on the road and introduce the world to some more music?
Yeah. We're looking to tour. We're already booking for 2022, and whether it happens or not, let's fingers crossed. I'm really good friends with our booking agent who books all of our tours for us and all of our shows. And we used to live together. One of my good buddies. We're the same age. And, he calls what he's doing right now charity work because he doesn't get paid. He's just like, he's been booking tours, canceling them, rebooking them, canceling them again, like 5-6 times over. And just everything has just been a nightmare for him. And so hopefully I'm starting to get the feeling, I don't know about you, but I have this feeling that everything is sort of like we're getting there. Like I have like this positive feeling like that. I think that we're almost there. Like I think it's going to happen in 2022. So
I'm with you. We are both friends with some WWE superstars, Seth Rollins, Bayley. Yes. They're about to get ready to go back in front of fans. And so I can only imagine that you are next in that. So that's going to be fun. Speaking of pro wrestling and some nerdy things that you may love, what are some things that, Vic loves as far as nerding out pop culture wise? It could be anything: comic books, movies, which you've kind of alluded on, podcasts, name it. I would like to hear the other side of Vic besides the musician side.
Dude, WWE has been a new thing for me since I met Seth and Bayley and Sasha. And Seth was the first one who reached out to me, or we met each other on Instagram, which was really cool to just kind of, I don't know, meet people that you have a mutual respect for, but wouldn't necessarily know each other in any other way. And Seth, I think, maybe listened to our band growing up, and he's obviously a big lover of music and supports it. Always comes out to shows for tons of bands. And he came out one day and we met him, and he watched the show and we had a good time. And then next thing you know, we're all watching football in our living room with Joshy G, and it was super.
Eating amazing. What was that? Chinese food or?
Oh my God, yeah.
But are there any like pop culture influences? You said, obviously there's some movies and stuff. What are some of your favorite movies?
Wayne's World. Love Wayne's World.
Great movie.
I celebrate the entire catalog, and we actually named one of our songs after a quote from Wayne's World, which was when Garth is getting with, who was the model that he hooked up with in the second one? I think it was.
I can't remember. I know Kim Basinger was.
I think might have been Kim. Yeah. But anyways, there's that whole scene where like they're dancing and she's like, "Take me, Garth." And he's like, "Where? I'm low on gas. I'm low on gas and you need a jacket." And so we called one of our songs "I'm Low on Gas and You Need a Jacket." And
great. See, I love stuff like that.
I love Wayne's World. That's I can probably quote all those movies back to front.
Fun fact, I was also a big Wayne's World fan when I was younger. I went as Garth for Halloween, I think in my 3rd or 4th grade.
Nice.
I remember all these kids were like, robots and firemen. And I was just showed up to school with my mom's Def Leppard t-shirt and a flannel and a big yellow blonde wig. And they're like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm Garth from Wayne's World. How do you guys not know this?" Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We just redid this band room, but I typically have a framed photo of Wayne and Garth like right in front of me up in the band room here. But yeah, I was also Wayne and Garth once for Halloween. I think what did I do? I did do Garth. Wasn't a great Garth, but me and Kurt, my buddy that I told you about that I started playing in bands with early on, we would do like duos a lot, and we did Bill and Ted, which was pretty epic. We did a really good Bill and Ted. Yeah, we did Wayne and Garth. I don't remember what else we did, but me and my girlfriend did a really good Gomez and Morticia. That was
Addams Family.
One. That was a great one. But I love going to LA during Halloween and walking the what's the area that they block off during Halloween? Like there's like blocks and blocks of a neighborhood, and I forget which neighborhood it is. But that's the best like costume watching, because LA people got they got like prosthetic hookups and like makeup is just off the charts, and so I love going up there just to people watch.
Now, outside of movies like Wayne's World and Addams Family and stuff that you guys obviously found inspirations for costumes, were there any TV shows that you liked? Were there any cartoons or comics that you read or watched growing up?
Absolutely, yeah. What was I crazy into growing up? I mean, Ren and Stimpy were like kind of like when I was younger, I would watch that, and now, looking back, looking at how disturbing Ren and Stimpy actually was, I can't believe that was the thing.
Well, I just remember parents getting so, in an uproar about Ren and Stimpy. I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong with it. You kind of watch it now, and you're like, I guess. Right. I guess I could see it.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Trying to think of shows that I was obsessed with. I mean, this will date where I grew up, like Saved by the Bell, The Wonder Years. This just reminded me, Mr. Belding, the principal, he was like a regular in Hollywood, like just comes to all the like random bars and stuff like that. You can see him on like any given night. Like, and he sort of became friends with my buddy Kurt that I was telling you about. And he would come out to like the shows and stuff. So I met him a couple times. That was really cool. That was a great honor.
Did you fanboy over Mr. Belding?
I did a little bit. And then, but in the same vein, there's that venue called Hotel Cafe in LA, which is like a singer-songwriter venue, very, very intimate. And
it's on Cahuenga, right? It's on Cahuenga?
I forget. I'm so bad with LA. I don't remember.
Okay.
But so I don't know how this came about. I forget. But my buddy Kurt somehow became friends with the main dude from that movie, That Thing You Do. You remember that movie with Tom Hanks? So the lead singer, Jimmy, somehow we all became connected, and it all came to a culmination when we got Jimmy to play That Thing You Do on stage with all of us at the Hotel Cafe. So,
that's great.
Talk about like weird, like me and Kurt always just look at each other and just be like, life is so weird, and let's just keep the weird times rolling, because like, how is this happening? Like, how are we up here with the dude from That Thing You Do playing That Thing You Do, like just looking at him? And I love those moments. I feel like I live for those weird moments in life.
But again, it's just a fun way, like you were saying, to look back and reminisce, like, man, however many years ago I was in the backyard playing for this band. Even before that, learning how to play guitar with my dad. It's kind of cool to look at your dad in somewhat as a superhero, and then kind of become one yourself. And there are people like a Seth Rollins or like a Mercedes or Sasha, or even, I'm sure there are a bunch of actors and actresses that you may or may not know about that are big Pierce the Veil fans and love the music. And I'm sure that those guys aren't the only ones that have reached out to you. And it's kind of cool to know that you're inspiring a whole new generation of people when it comes to your music and your songwriting.
Oh, thanks.
So
man.
That's got to kind of make you feel good, right?
I think that's honestly been one of my favorite things lately, of being in a band for like over 10 years, being in the same band for over 10 years, is that you're growing up with people. And a kid who could have been like 13, is now 23 and in college, and it's been rad to like hear from some of these people that we've kind of grown up with, and meeting people that I'm like, oh my God, like you listen to our band? That's crazy. Like, it's so fun to meet people that way. And I've been like taking advantage of this moment in our band of being around for a while, to where for example, I love going to shows. I love going to concerts. And so I've recently started to reach out to the artists that I'm going to go see just to see if we can meet and hang out for 10, 20 minutes. And I did that a bunch when I was living up in Seattle working on our latest album. I would just go out to show by myself and meet the artists. I met K-Flay, who I really love. I met this Australian artist named Mallrat. I met this kid, Youngblood. And I feel like I discovered a new superpower world where I can just hit up the person I'm inspired by and actually meet them and hang out with them. So I'm I'm going to keep doing this for as long as I can because it's so fun to meet people that you really look up to and are inspired by.
And what a great superpower to have. And, and you have such an influence, whether you believe it or not, on so many people. And it is so cool that when you can reach out to these artists, then they're probably just as pumped to hear from you. And yes, please come backstage as you are to go back and hang with them. So that's really, really, really cool. Before we end this wonderful interview, which I wish it wouldn't end because I enjoy talking to you.
Man.
This show also has a fun element to it as far as fitness goes. There's a lot of people that are stuck at home because of the pandemic, and also vice versa. Some people are just kind of, they're a little shy. They don't want to go out to a gym. They don't want to go out to, Equinox or a CrossFit class or something because, they feel very, very intimidated. But I feel that health and fitness is very, very important, especially to people that maybe play PlayStation all day. Now, again, there's anything wrong with that, but maybe getting up and moving or having some sort of movement. How does Vic, when you are on tour, how do you get that fitness in, especially because your time is so limited? Mm-hmm. And what are some advices, what is some advice you would give somebody that, maybe starting out or maybe a little shy to do some sort of movement?
Yeah. Well, it's funny, on tour is when I get in the best shape because every night we're doing a 40-minute to hour and a half cardio by playing a show because, our show is a live show is very energetic and we're jumping off stuff and we're rolling around and me singing is very, I use a lot of muscles singing, I'm pushing and, flexing and jumping and it's like a full body workout. We're drenched in sweat by the end of it. So that alone really kind of I'll cut up a lot, I lose a lot of fat and really tone up. And then during the day, we all like to do our little workouts, we'll go for a run or just have our own little regimens. I started bringing Olympic rings was my favorite thing to bring on tour because I was always having trouble finding I love doing pull-ups and body weight stuff and pull-ups, push-ups, stuff like that. I don't particularly love really heavy weights for myself and it's hard to bring on tour. And so Olympic rings, I can just throw them over a staircase or a tree or whatever and you can do a full, body workout through those things. And so that became the one for sure thing I always bring on tour. And I still use those in my backyard still today and stuff.
But I love it. And I think that's the thing about this show and with Dead Boys Fitness, the company that Colby, Seth, and I co-founded is that we want to get people moving in any kind of capacity. Mm-hmm. Do I expect Vic or myself to move the same amount of weight as Seth Rollins or Cesaro? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Those guys are a little bit more monstrous compared to myself. So, but we do want people to move. And it's really fun to hear that even when you are on tour, even when you are maybe tired or don't want to do it, you get something in or you're able to bring on just a pair of Olympic rings and be able to get a full workout in. And that's really kind of inspiring. And hopefully people hear that and realize hey, if Vic can do some ring pull-ups on tour in between, sound check and the actual show, I can go for a walk for 15 minutes. Again, just getting people moving and getting people healthy because I want them to be around just as much as you do, not just to hang out and check out this fun interview, but to go to your shows and buy a cool candy wrapper t-shirt.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think more than ever, physical fitness and mental health are so linked, and mental health being such a huge issue, especially during the pandemic. And I think that self-care for example, going outside and getting 20 minutes of sun and doing a little walk or something, self-care is a great step towards like self-love for people who are feeling like depressed or anxiety or feeling like, worthless, like during this pandemic. Like a lot of us can feel sometimes, like doing that little bit of self-care, which can be exercise, should be exercise for sure, should be a part of it, is super, super important. And it makes you feel so much better about yourself. And I think it's a great place to start. Like whenever anyone asks me like, hey, like I'm feeling really down, like what can I do? And I'm not a therapist, but I know that 20 minutes of sun and a little bit of exercise every day will scientifically make you feel better. So I can confidently tell you that,
Well, that's good. That's good advice. And I appreciate that you saying that. That obviously means a lot coming from you. And I'm sure people hear that and hopefully will be inspired to at least get outside and go for a walk, put on one of your albums and stroll around the block and get healthier and hopefully at the same time get a little fitter. Yeah. Before I let you go, I will ask you a question that I ask all my guests. And obviously I'm a big nerd, as you can see. I'm also a big wrestling fan, as you know. So I'm going to ask you, if you could come up with the big wrestling event that happens every year is WrestleMania. It's the Super Bowl of wrestling events. If you can come up with a pop culture WrestleMania main event, it literally could be anything. It could be He-Man versus Thanos, or it could be Seth Rollins and Bayley versus Superman and Wonder Woman. It could be anything your little heart desires. What would Vic Fuentes' main event of his pop culture WrestleMania and why? I know I'm putting you on the spot. I can give you a moment to think about it.
It would be me versus Seth Rollins. And I challenge you, Seth. Let's do it.
Oh, I like it. Is there any kind of match? Do you want it? Just a straight one-on-one? Is it a cage match? Is it the loser leaves town, loser shaves their head? I mean, you both have long hair.
No touching of the hair or face. I just want to get in there with Seth just to see us compared to each other of what the hell that would look like. And I want to use my speed against him.
Okay.
But what would the match look like? When I picture wrestling, I picture very old school wrestling, like just like the old ring and the regular stuff, the chairs and the tables, and none of the razor wire stuff like that. That sounds a little scary to me. I can't hang.
See, the way I would book it is that obviously there is a size advantage, right? You're a little smaller than Seth. I see Danielle throwing you some brass knuckles to cheat to hit Seth when he isn't looking, and that's how you go over.
Oh, hell yeah. Danielle, my fiance could run out and throw me some brass knuckles, maybe like a pipe, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or you can go honky tonk man style and have a guitar handy and then just hit him over the head with the guitar when the referee's not looking. See, I'm helping you out, buddy.
I like where your head's at. I got to come up with a character, and we'll make this happen.
Okay. I'm calling Vince tomorrow and I'm going to make this happen. WrestleMania next year in Dallas, or maybe 2 years in Hollywood. We'll make it happen, my friend.
You got nothing, Seth. You heard it here.
Vic, I appreciate you taking the time and chatting with us. Where can the fine folks of our Sideshow community find you via social media?
Pierce the Vic. Very hard to crack and to remember. Yeah, just check out
on Instagram and Twitter.
Yep. At Pierce the Vic. That's me. And also, if you guys want to check out, I have a nonprofit charity called Living the Dream Foundation. I'm going to plug that. If you guys want to check out Living the Dream Foundation, we make dreams come true for kids and young adults who are suffering from life-threatening illnesses. So we bring them out to concerts, events. I would love to bring, we actually brought, oh no, we haven't done that yet. We want to bring a kid out to a WWE show one day, but we specialize in the music industry, and we connect people who are going through a really rough time with their heroes and with their, their favorite artist or whatever it is that they love. Like we just did one the other day with this kid, Trevor, who's got a horrible cancer, and he got to meet his hero, Corey Taylor, the singer from Slipknot and Stone Sour, and they got to sit down on Zoom for like an hour and just like rap about Star Wars and just joke around. And it was like the raddest moment ever. So we kind of create these moments for these kids to meet their heroes. And once the pandemic is over, we'll be able to go back to bringing them out to festivals and stuff like that. And it's super rad. So check out Living the Dream Foundation. We're at LTD Foundation.
Awesome, Vic. Look, that just shows you what a cool human you are, what a cool down-to-earth human you are. I really, really enjoyed this a lot. I appreciate it. Like I said, taking the time. I learned a lot from you. Again, and I hope the folks within our Sideshow community got to learn a lot from you as well, man. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we are going to do a fun, inspired workout here in just a moment. So thanks again, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the opportunity.
Hey, guys. What's going on? Joshy G, Jen Houston, Dead Boys Fitness, and we're here for Sideshow Collectibles. Get super with Joshy G, and today's workout is a doozy. That's right. We have 4 stations. We got jumping jacks, sit-ups, alternating lunges, and no push-up burpees. 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest, lots of built-in rest. Jen's ready to demonstrate. I'm ready to commentate, and we're gonna get you started here in 3, 2, 1, let's go. All right, guys, so the first movement in this workout is the jump rope. You are going to jump rope for 40 seconds. Now, the goal of this is to get as many reps as you can within that 40 seconds. Once that 40 seconds is up, you'll have 20 seconds rest. Your next movement in this workout are the old-fashioned sit-up, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our feet together, sole to sole, just like Jen's doing. You're gonna lay all the way back. You're gonna touch the floor behind you, and you're gonna shoot up and touch your toes. Now again, you're gonna do this for 40 seconds. The goal is to accumulate as many reps as you can. We want you to not stop. Why? Because you're gonna get 20 seconds rest after this is all said and done. So the third movement in this workout are alternating lunges. Now, you can step forward, you can step backwards, it doesn't matter to me, just as long as you're alternating legs. Jen here is moving backwards. So again, we want that back knee to touch the ground. We want that shin to stay nice and vertical. And again, you're working hard for 40 seconds. So how many reps can you get? All right, the fourth and final movement in this workout, a personal favorite of mine, the no push-up burpee. You're gonna drop down, hands touch the ground, you're gonna shoot your feet back to the top of your plank or push-up, you're gonna throw your feet back forward, and you're gonna jump and clap. Again, 40 seconds of work. Doesn't seem like a lot, but trust me, they'll all add up once that clock starts to tick away. Tick, tick, tick. Good job, Jen. So there you have it, guys. 2 full rounds of the following. 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds rest. You have jumping rope or jumping jacks as a scaled option. You have sit-ups or crunches as a scaled option. You have lunges or lunges as low as you can for a scaled option. And of course, no push-up burpees and or walking your hands back and forward, jumping and clapping as a scaled option. Like always, we give you plenty of scaled options. You can do this in your home, your living room, your garage, your backyard, in a gym, in a parking lot. You can do it pretty much anywhere. Thank you, Jen, for helping me out. Thank you, Sideshow Collectibles. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Get Super with Joshy G, and we'll see you guys real soon. Don't forget to let your geek side show. Wink. Did you enjoy that video? Be sure to subscribe by hitting the S icon on your screen and click the bell icon to be notified whenever a new video is posted. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to let your geek side show.